history among Native Americans, particularly but not excluding to Oklahoma, where many tribal leaders have been Masons. The Oklahoma Masonic Indian degree team incorporates Native American culture elements into Masonic rituals, reflecting the deep connection between Native traditions and Freemasonry. A lot of you Freemasons happen to also double as Native Americans. You've been studying a warped version of Moorish science on the low. It's time to come clean. Freemasonry has a significant history among Native Americans, particularly
the Pretendians are all Freemasons. Anne Oakley.
Most people have heard of the Bavarian Illuminati, but I'm going to reveal something.
The Pretendians are all Freemasons. They don't even need to hide it. They're proud of it. On all of their social medias, you're going to find them being proud of being Native American and Freemason. This is from Twitter. Controlled both sides for hundreds of years, going back long before the Civil War, before the War for Independence, long before Napoleon. The most famous Native Americans were actually Freemasons. Oh wow, look, there's Crazy Horse. And even Obama. I don't know who these guys are, but they look like some Siberian Filipino. Did you know after Sitting Bull was released from prison in 1885, he befriended Anne Oakley and made $50 a week touring with Buffalo Bill Cody's Wild West show? Buffalo Bill is a Freemason. And here's Sitting Bull with Buffalo Bill. Here's a letter of someone researching the Freemason Native American. Pause to read it, it's pretty good. Here's some more. A lot of this is from Facebook. And you really gotta pay attention to their symbols closely. And here's my Facebook, you could add me. Honestly, someday we're gonna learn the full history of this American takeover. And it's about to be exposed, all of it, the real history. Look at this guy, Two Guns, the Blackfeet Indian chief, was a Shriner. And there's a lot of these guys in Oklahoma for some reason. And this is probably the whitest Indian chief I've ever seen. Like, doesn't get whiter than this. Honestly, at this point, it's just funny. It's just funny.
I would like to do today's presentation on American Indian Freemasonry by Arthur C. Parker. May he rest in peace. I dedicate this to him and to the memory of all of the indigenous beings on this earth. Now, in this talk, basically you explore Masonic-like traditions which existed in the rites and ceremonies of the indigenous peoples way before 1717. Now, many people in the Masonic community get it twisted that Freemasonry was founded in 1717 in England.
Family, take another walk with me. Now these natives on this app, they wild disrespectful. We really have the genealogy to prove everything we say, while they don't. They say y'all working with the white man this, white man that. But what the fuck is this? This is proof that you motherfuckers always have. They gave you your history. Y'all concocted this shit together. This is in the prime. The improved order of red men was in the prime of Reconstruction era. You understand? Watch my video before this so y'all can get, another type of view of what I'm talking about. These people are mixed people. They are not the original people. They are here to usurp us. They are political Indians. No more, no less. And look at this shit. Look at this bullshit right here.
And asked by the organizers of the webcast Worldwide Exemplification of Freemasonry to present a lecture on Freemasonry, Albert Pike, and the 5 Civilized Tribes. It is a lesser-known aspect of the career of the great 19th century Scottish Rite leader in America, but I'm happy to do so. Regardless of whether we came about it illegally or by coercion, one thing is certain.
Did you hear what he said? Listen to what he said. He said it clear as day.
Whether we came about it illegally or by coercion, one thing is...
Regardless if we came about it illegally or by coercion. Is that what he said?
19th century Scottish Rite leader in America, but I'm happy to do so. Regardless of whether we came about it illegally or by coercion, one thing is certain. It can safely be said that no other state in the United States has a richer Native American culture and heritage than Oklahoma. And up until the last biennial census, Oklahoma had the largest Indian population in the United States. California can now make that claim with a little over 363,000 Native Americans compared with 264,000 for Oklahoma. In any event, the tribal influence which prevailed in the pre-statehood era of Oklahoma can readily be seen in the state's name itself. Oklahoma is from the Choctaw words Okla, meaning people, and Huma, meaning red. The land of the red people ranks among the largest number of different tribes, with 39, represented by tribal governments, and we certainly have a rich legacy of Native American involvement in the affairs of city and state, and in Freemasonry.
Be irritating, dog, watching these racist offspring of peasants, diabolical, wicked mother. I don't even be wanting to listen to that. I do it for us. You know what I'm saying? I'm still in my feelings because somebody comment like, he's gonna be monetized at 1,000 views. Duh, motherfucker. Y'all stupid, man. Like, y'all so stupid. Like, that's just some more programming that you think, oh, he out here kicking knowledge. So if he make any money kicking any knowledge, something's wrong. Niggas throw dollars, tens of thousands, millions a year on naked bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm over here kicking some knowledge, and if I can monetize my YouTube channel, you gonna act like I'm doing some scam? I ain't ask nobody for nothing. Did you know that? Because that's showing a lack of faith in God providing for you, and God always provide for me. God always provide for me. God always provide for me. Having said that, let's get back into this video. Listen to this boring-ass white man talk.
No other area in North America can point to the successful integration of the Indian into the body politic as has been accomplished in Oklahoma. And Freemasonry played an important role in the blending of the cultures. No other place did the Indian knock at the door of Freemasonry in such large numbers. To understand why there has always been a kind of natural affinity between Freemasonry and the Indian, it is helpful to know that most Native American tribes have always lived under and been ruled by a patriarchal culture. Of course, Masonic ritual and the sacred space of lodge are patriarchal in every sense. When Joseph Fort Newton wrote of the men's house, he was referring to the ceremonial dwelling of the initiated men. And like Masonry, the wisdom taught by the Indian ways has always been centered around the oral tradition.
So you telling me that now the Mason on here, he acting like they done stole it from the Native Americans? Not even the Native Americans, from the indigenous people of America. I'm gonna stop saying Native American. I like to get caught up in the etymology of words, and from what I understand, the best thing is just be a fucking Indian, my nigga. We only, how far into this video? 3 minutes. Dude already snitching on himself. So I'm gonna try to keep my commentary to a minimum on this one, but it's gonna be a little more dragged out, you know what I'm saying? But I think we're gonna get some information from this clamping.
The elders of the tribe selected their successors, although now tribal leaders are voted into office. The medicine men trained their apprentices. The family structure was clearly defined by gender role. And the wisdom, history, and mythos of the Indian culture had been largely carried from one generation to another through its own social and secret societies of men. It has been social and secret societies of men. It has been very much a father-to-son tradition of communication. Some of these male societies were concerned with the religious mysteries, some with keeping the records, some with the dramatization of myths, some with the study of ethics, some for pure joy, but there were no societies composed exclusively of women. And it was typically among all tribes that their individual males belonged to more than one society. It was the central teaching mechanism of the tribe. We also know that many traditions of Indian society were taught by degrees. Of course, they weren't called degrees, but they were progressive stages for the seeking of wisdom, and we know that some of the Plains Indians had as many as 20 of these different degrees or levels of teaching. While a paper on the secret tradition of various tribes would be of interest, the purpose of this essay is not to discuss the initiatic traditions of our Native American brothers, but to visit the historical associations between the 5 civilized tribes which brought them to what is now eastern Oklahoma, and to outline the lesser-known but highly significant cultural and professional influence that Albert Pike had on tribal leadership throughout Indian Territory. Second, the connection between the white man and his red brother in the Masonic lodges themselves during Oklahoma's pre-statehood era from 1830 to 1907.
1830 to 1907. All right, so doing your research, you trying to find out something. 1830 to 1907, that was the whole time they fried us. He trying to say that they linked up. Well, I ain't watched this yet, so that's why I'm just talking. You know how I be, you know what I'm saying? If they linked up with the natives, 1830, 1907, that's when all the treaties was coming up with all the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That how we lost our land and lost our identity. And now what they got? These same Negroes over here teaching this black shit. You know what I'm saying? These niggas is sellouts, dog. You a sellout. I don't care, nigga. Don't comment on here talking about what you are and the true meaning and none of that shit, dog. These niggas with these treaties at the end of the day, dog. I'm from the hood. If your name in the paperwork, it ain't good.
The medicine men trained their apprentices. The family structure was clearly defined by gender role, and the wisdom, history, and mythos of the Indian culture had been largely carried from one generation to another through its own social and secret societies of men. It has been very much a father-to-son tradition of communication. Some of these male societies were concerned with the religious mysteries, some with keeping the records, some with the dramatization of myths, some with the study of ethics, some for pure joy, but there were no societies composed exclusively of women. And it was typically among all tribes that their individual males belonged to more than one society. It was the central teaching mechanism of the tribe. We also know that many traditions of Indian society were taught by degrees. Of course, they weren't called degrees, but they were progressive stages for the seeking of wisdom, and we know that some of the Plains Indians had as many as 20 of these different degrees, or levels of teaching. While a paper on the secret tradition of various tribes would be of interest, the purpose of this essay is not to discuss the initiatic traditions of our Native American brothers, but to visit the historical associations between the 5 civilized tribes which brought them to what is now eastern Oklahoma, and to outline the lesser-known but highly significant cultural and professional influence that Albert Pike had on tribal leadership throughout Indian Territory. Second, the connection between the white man and his red brother in the Masonic lodges themselves during Oklahoma's pre-statehood era from 1830 to 1907 is peculiar enough to be of interest to the general reader. As Masons, we can safely assume that the undercurrent which allowed this association to become manifest and grow is, in part, connected with our shared secret society tradition, the implicit trust among fraternal brothers that one's word is his bond. In Indian Territory, this mystic tie became apparent in a very real sense. I will limit my remarks primarily to the 5 civilized tribes. Those include the Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw. I will limit my remarks primarily to the 5 civilized tribes. Those include the Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole nations, as these were the major tribal governments originally situated south of the Ohio and east of the Mississippi rivers, and each were independent nations in and of themselves before and after the Revolution. Each also took sides against America during the Revolution. Each was forcibly removed to Indian Territory west of Arkansas by the United States government, and the leaders of each of the 5 civilized tribes were Masons. And the leaders of each of the 5 civilized tribes were Masons.
And the leaders of each of the 5 civilized tribes were Masons.
I told you we was finna catch them, dog. I knew we was finna catch them on this. They like to high side, you know what I'm saying, brag to each other. So there it is, bro. There go the root of the downfall, and I had it, bro, because I knew it, bro. Bring that
back. The leaders of each of the 5 civilized tribes were Masons.
I don't know nothing about what y'all doing nowadays, you know what I'm talking about? But it's some niggas on YouTube be looking like they, you know what I'm saying, got some of this regalia on, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna call you out, but you know, niggas know who you are, but...
Family, take another walk.
This is the secret truth about Native Americans' Freemasonry that wasn't taught to you in history class. As soon as Native leaders were exposed to Freemasonry, they recognized its power. Take, for example, Chief Joseph Brant. He was the first known Native American Freemason who, during the French and Indian War and the Revolutionary War, famously saved or spared the lives of many soldiers the moment that they gave him the secret Masonic sign of distress. And when Brother Brant traveled to London to meet King George III, he famously refused to bow to the king because, as a Master Mason, he understood that they were meeting on the level. This deep fraternal respect became a mode of survival and spiritual preservation a century later when, in the 1880s, the U.S. government passed the Code of Indian Offenses, effectively criminalizing indigenous ceremonies, dances, and sacred rites. The goal was the total eradication of the native spiritual identity, which the U.S. government believed would finally keep them under heel. But Native American leaders, many of whom were brilliant strategists, recognized a massive loophole. The Masonic Lodge was a legally protected, highly respected private sanctuary. They recognized that the government could not and would not raid a tiled lodge for fear of the backlash that it would cause. Also, to the profane world, the creation of Native American lodges appeared as if natives were simply assimilating to Western powers. But what the colonizers didn't realize was that this adoption of our ancient tools served a dual purpose, not only as an impenetrable legal shield, but as a perfect esoteric overlap. The indigenous mind immediately recognized Freemasonry for what it actually was: an oral tradition, a system of degrees, a brotherhood bound by oaths, and an altar dedicated to the Supreme Being, which perfectly mirrored indigenous initiatory societies which already existed. So, Native American chiefs and medicine men became Master Masons to preserve their heritage.
Is there a Freemason connection to the Trail of Tears? You betcha there is. I'm the Hyperlink, and I was a Freemason for about a decade. Jesus Christ broke me from the chains of Freemasonry, and I'm here to expose the truth and the people behind Freemasonry. Hey, we're going to look at the 7th President of the United States, Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was made a Freemason in Tennessee in Harmony Lodge No. 1 in 1800. He served as the Grand Master, that is the chief Grand Poobah of all Freemasons in Tennessee from 1822 to 1824. Let's rewind a second. What's the Trail of Tears? The Trail of Tears was the tragic forced removal of roughly 60,000 Native Americans. Native American tribes used to live in Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi. They were forced to march north to the barren lands of Oklahoma. This genocide was started and signed into effect by Andrew Jackson with the Indian Removal Act of 1830. I was a Freemason. I bought into the lie that they make good men better. I also bought into the lie that they had an honorable history. They said that they walked on the backs of giants. But that's not true, is it? I mean, the same guy who said this, Andrew Jackson, Freemason, says Freemasonry is an institution calculated to benefit mankind. Were those Native Americans less than human? Were they a part of mankind? I think so. If you're looking to join Freemasonry and think that this is a good organization that's all about the equality of man and the founding of America, then you've been misled by the spin. This is the true face of that fraternity and those backs of giants that they walk on. So don't fall for this lie. Oh, I almost forgot. This really good-looking guy here was his vice president, John C. Calhoun. Calhoun was also a Freemason from Tennessee, and he had a large role in being the hand that enacted the Trail of Tears. Remember, Jesus said that you will know them by their fruits, and this is the fruit that they're talking about. Remember, this is useless stuff. You don't need this to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. He's enough. You don't need supplemental Masonic BS.